Hello and welcome to Dedicated Dentist 32 Reasons Why. So last video we discussed the psychoanalytical or psychosexual theory. So this is the continuation of that. If you get an LAQ on this, you have to mention the topographic model, draw this, write about psychic triad and these psychosexual stages that we'll discuss through the video. So Sigmund Freud believed that if anything wrong happens in the childhood, the child is greatly influenced by that. So these memories, they get enter the unconscious mind. We don't bring it into our attention, but somehow they affect our individuality or personality when we grow into adults. Say a child has been abused in the childhood, a child has been abused, okay, so he will forget that for a moment without realizing it. That will be manifested in his behavior, that will influence his personality when he'll grow into an adult, and then thus he will be bad tempered, narcissist. So okay, so thus this any unexpressed emotions or repressed emotions during childhood, they affect the personality of an individual. Before we start with the theory, you'll have to understand these two terminologies, erogenous zones and the fixation. So he said erogenous zones are basically the organs or parts of the body that when stimulated give pleasure. Like in infants it is oral cavity, okay. Then there's this term fixation. See, if a child enters from oral stage to other stage, and if he's not properly nursed or breastfed, then that means the child is in a fixation state, okay, still stuck. There are unresolved traits or issues, that is fixation. So that is the first stage, psychosexual stage, that is oral stage, okay, seen in 18 months, first to 1.5 years. The erogenous zone is oral cavity, okay. So this will give pleasure to the child. So the objectives are, you have to write the answer like this: stage, erogenous zone, objectives, characteristics, and the pathological traits. So you have to write your answer if you get a LAQ like this. So objectives are that the child depends on mother for getting the needs fulfilled, okay. So this helps in development of trust. Remember I said that breastfeeding makes the bond of mother or caregiver and the child stronger. So that is the objective of this stage. And characteristics are, this is a dependent stage, child depends on mother for getting the needs fulfilled. And the pathological traits are, say if the child is not properly nursed or breastfed, okay, so that, and if he sees his younger sibling being nursed, this will lead to jealousy in the child. So when he will grow on to become adult, he will have a narcissistic personality, he will be pessimist, jealous, envious, and he may succumb to bad habits like sucking, smoking, or gum chewing, okay. So now we have this anal stage, that is from 1 to 3rd year, okay. So characteristics are, here the bowel is the erogenous zone, right? So now the child is independent and he realizes his voluntary control over the sphincters. He can control sphincters, potty training or toilet training, okay, basically that's. So he practices it with shame and guilt. Okay, so objectives are that the child, when potty trained well or toilet trained well, now he develops the independency and autonomy, and he's appraised for doing it properly, and he has this feeling of accomplishment, okay. So that's the objective of this stage, is that the child is independent and autonomous. And pathological traits are, if potty train fails, if he's not trained properly, okay, and if he sees his other sibling doing it well and parents praising him, so he have this anal expulsion personality, okay. So when he'll grow on to become an adult, he will be unclean and very disordered because of the failed potty training. And there's this anal retentive personality, that the children or sibling who were trained well, they will be very clean, impeccable, and obsessed with cleanliness, okay. Now there's this urethral stage. It is a transition between anal and phallic stage, okay, and the objectives and characteristics are same. Again, the child will have a control over the bladder, okay. So yeah, he'll have this feeling of independency and autonomy and have this feeling of accomplishment. And the pathological traits are, this will if not properly trained well, say the child has a habit of bedwetting, then eventually this will lead to a personality who will be very aggressive, and when he grows into adult, very competitive, unhealthy competition, right? So now we move on to this next stage, that is phallic stage, that is 3rd and 5th year, from 3rd and 5th year, okay. So now here the erogenous zone is genitals, and the characteristic features are that this leads to Oedipus complex. In a boy, he feels that he has it's said that the children, they like opposite sex parents, okay, they have a liking for them, and they consider their same-sex parents as their rivals. Okay, so he believed Oedipus complex. He gave this term. He believed that boys have affection for mother and they feel that their fathers are their rivals. Okay, so they are scared of their fathers, so that leads to castration anxiety in boys. Okay, so there's this another Electra complex, similar to Oedipus complex, except that here the girls have feelings for their fathers. He believed this. Objective is that the child realizes the sexual qualities without embarrassments, and the pathological traits are that boys, they will have this anxiety and fear, castration anxiety, fear from father for having feelings for mother. Okay, so and they have this guilt about sex. And the girls, they will be envious and they will develop this inferiority complex. Now we move on to the next stage, that is the latency stage. Okay, so this is from 5 years till puberty. So here, as the term suggests, latency, this period is latent, that is libido is inactive here. Now the focus of child shifts. Now the child is more conscious about his personality, developing it, getting acquired with the intellectual and social skills, working on communication, and thus interacts with the environment as befriends people of same sex. Okay, he develops interest in sports, personality development, communication, basically mastery over skills. So the objectives are that there is development and maturation of personality here, and pathological trait, that is fixation, in this stage results in immature behavior. But later on, this fixation or unresolved issues, they are resolved in genital stage and after that. Okay, so the last stage is the genital stage from 11 to 13 years till death or adulthood. Okay, now here this is one of the limitation of this theory, that in between what happens, how it influences the relations and all this, fails to explain this. Okay, so the characteristics of this stage are, there's this sense of identity that develops. Now the child has mature personality. Okay, so now he has realized his goals for reproduction and survival. So it starts with dating and all. So that's it. So objectives are again matured personality and independency, and the child rejoices the independency. Okay, and any unresolved traits from previous bases or fixation, they are resolved or modified here in this stage. So that was all about the 5 psychosexual stages given by Sigmund Freud. Inshallah, we'll talk about the Erik Erikson's theory in our next video. Till then, take care. Have a great day.